it's Amanda here from Lolli Lulu Crafts, and today I have a haul video for you with the latest release from Sue Wilson. Now this isn't the entire collection, or the entire release I should say, but it is a good selection from that for you, but it's definitely worth taking a look at the whole of the collection that's been released this quarter. So let's have a look. I've got a few of the stamps and I've got a bit of a selection from the dies as well. So here is here, but I'll just pop this all to one side. Okay, so she's released a couple more of the Noble dies. So we've got here set B of your double pierced circles, so that's really cool. It's same as with the rectangles and squares. These sit between the previous collection, so instead of having a 1/4 inch gap between the layers of the dies, so when you cut them out to mat and layer and you have that gap that layers down, and at the moment it would be 1/4 inch, but with these, because they sit between, you get 1/8 of an inch gap, which is really cool, because obviously with a die set you can only go so close because you have to have a certain amount of metal each side of the die cutting edge, so you can only go so close. So what she does is obviously then does a second set that pops like the layer between here effectively, so when you sort of line them up, so you get that lovely 1/8 of an inch gap, which I really like. That's the kind of size gap that I like on my mat and layering. And this is the double pierced as well, so you've got the piercing on both sides of your cut line, which is really cool. So if you keep the circle part, you get the piercing, or if you cut it as a frame, you also get the piercing. So that's that one. And then ditto all of the above that I just said, but for our ovals. Again, really like these. They're nice and big as well if you take a look at the size compared to my hand, so you get a decent size on those, and you get 9 dies and 10 dies respectively, and it gives you all the sizes, but they're in centimetres and I tend to work in inches, but I think 15 is about 6, so it's about 6 across by 18, so that's probably about 6 by 7, something like that, maybe just a bit more. So a really decent size die. Then we have the Indian Ocean collection, which I think is gorgeous. But then I love all these collections, and they tend to work together. What you'll find is the collections not only obviously work together sort of aesthetically and the way that the design works, but you'll actually find that sort of these inner pieces quite often, or even the outer edges, will mat and layer together as well. So you won't necessarily, you might think that they're repeats, but they actually will sort of work together. So you can see here you've got that shape, and then you've got it again here, and so those will kind of mat up. So this one is your Mauritius, very pretty, and you've got 6 dies on this. And again, as with most of these kind of sets that she does, you've got the outside edge, then you've got kind of your patterny piece of the die, and then you've got another outside edge, and then another patterny piece. So you can literally cut this into the cardstock, or you can die cut it out of the cardstock with or without your design piece. You can cut it as a frame because you've got this piece as well, so you can cut them either side. You can cut it as a frame without this pattern piece, so you could then layer it up. I mean, there's so many options, it's crazy. So you've got all of that, and then when you put them together with the rest of the sets, you've got all the different matting and layering options on top of that, so that's really cool. So then we've got our Maldives, just trying to pick it up so you can see. Again, really lovely. I love these kind of sort of lines and lattice work, I think that's what you would call it really. And again, so it's a nice size, and you can see lots of options with that. And then you've got your Tags Duo. Really like, again, you've got kind of that latticey almost like a half lattice, so isn't it, because it's only going one direction. And there's the actual dies. And then we've got our background, and I believe this is the complete Indian Ocean collection, so this is all of the elements. So that's your background one, and there are 7 dies there. So you've got this piece here on the outside does not have an outside cutting edge, so you can choose to make the outside cutting edge as big as you want, and you can use your other dies that you've got to cut around it, or just a trimmer, and you can cut that absolutely close, or you can cut it, you know, 6 inches, 1 inch, 1/4 inch, whatever you want. And so that's been deliberately left so that you can choose what to do there. But then you have got your straight cutting edges further in for the matting and layering and framing, etc. on that. And then we've got, finally on this collection, the border and corners. Really pretty, quite Art Deco, I think. And again with this one we've got a border die around our border and the corners, and then our inner decorative piece. So I think that's really cool. So that is the Indian Ocean collection. And then she's done, as always, some different elements, quite a few different elements for the different collections, sort of categories I suppose you'd call it, that she does. So we've got here the an element from the finishing touches section, and so each time she does a launch she'll do some from the finishing touches, she'll do a new collection. Lately she's been doing like the shadow boxes sort of sections, the configurations, Gemini, etc, etc. So there'll be different elements. Now I've only got one of these from the finishing touches, but there were a number of different pieces to the finishing touches, but I just chose to get this one here, which is a gorgeous sort of flower piece. It's almost like a stitched kind of fabric look to it, and I just thought that was so cool, really different. So when you saw that cut out, when I saw it like this I was like, oh yeah, that's quite interesting, but then I saw it cut out as a sample and I was like, wow, that looks so amazing. So this is called Stitched Doodle Flowers, and I think that is gorgeous. And I think again when you see the other elements that are in this month's this quarter's launch, you'll see how that kind of fits in with that quite well. So then going on to the configurations section, I actually got a number of bits from this because I actually really liked, always liked, but I really liked the configurations from this launch. So here we have the sunrise adornment. So you can see how that's going to work really well with the Indian Ocean collection. It's got that similar kind of straight half lattice as I named it, and that can sit, well, I don't know, I mean you can do so many different things with this. You've got a piece that goes all the way around the edge just as a single die cut, and then you've got your decorative element on the inside. So that's your sunrise. Then we've got the edges, and these were the ones that I was really taken with actually, and that's why there's a number of them. And I don't think I even got all of these. I think there was one more, the sort of heart one, but I chose not to get that because I'd already picked quite a few. So this is your striped swirl edger. So you can see here there's, if I turn it over, whoops, if I turn it over you can see there's different elements. So you've got this piece, then you've got another sort of scalloped piece there, and then almost like a little train track piece there, and none of them have got sorry, that's not true, these have not got cutting edges on the inside here, so you can put them on the edge of your card. So this will cut out like a scalloped border here, but this will then be absolutely attached. And the same with this, you'll have this decorative border. This one will cut like an element into the edge of the card, and then you can choose the position that you wish to cut your straight line if you're doing a straight line. So you could cut it right up to the edge, so that is on the very edge. You could have a big inch gap. You could add your scalloped piece there next to it. So if you look here, they've given the 3 examples where you can see the scalloped, the decorative edge, and this piece. But for example here, if we took that element there and popped it just underneath that scalloped edge, you'd have that just cut out underneath. So you've got different options there. You could cut your scalloped edge along the bottom here and create some sort of fancy border. You could do it like this, where they've put all 3 together, so you've got one edge one side, one the other, and then that piece in the middle. So there's a lot of options, and I've probably only just scratched the surface with the variants on this. So that's that one. And then as I said, I got a couple of the different styles. So then I got this gorgeous one which is called Blossom Edger, and I think that's so pretty. And then, so you can see here you've got the 2 types of blossom, and then again like your different sort of train track. I love those sort of train track pieces, as I call it. And if you look, because you might think, oh, that's the same, it actually isn't. This one's like a sort of a square oblong one, and this one's kind of like little ovals. So it's different, and there's no reason why you can't combine these in different ways. You know, you don't have to keep all these elements with these elements. You could put the butterflies with the blossoms one side, or the different middle piece, you know, anything like that. There's lots of options. So then we've got the butterfly edger, and again I think that's so pretty. And that's the actual die. So for this one you can see the middle piece is sort of like a teeny little circle, and then you've got your butterflies. So that's the configurations, and I suppose the reason they're called configurations is because you can configure them into many different options. Okay, so now onto the sort of oh, one more thing actually, one more section, frames and tags. I am desperately wanting to get, and I just keep not doing, is getting the flags from a long time ago that was released. But when I saw this, I thought this is a very similar idea. You've got the little flags, and then also you've got a double-ended flag, and ditto on this one here. So you've got lots of sizes there which you can mat and layer those up really well, and they've got the stitched border. I had spoken with Sue saying on the previous time when she'd done a one of the Shadowbox collections, one of the parts of it, I think it was the lattice section, had a outside edge with the stitch border, and I said, please can we have some more? And she said, keep watching this space. So she knew that this was upcoming, and I couldn't say anything obviously, so this now has come up. So I'm really hoping that there will be more of these stitched. I would actually love the these Noble collections to be done all again, but with the stitched. So you could have literally like this, all the squares, the oblongs, the ovals are oblongs. No, they're not, rectangles. Anyway, all of those basic shapes done with the stitched elements on the side, because I think that's so cool. But anyway, it's really nice to have that on here, so I was really pleased to see that. So I loved that. So then going to the recent thing of the, and then I've got here this beautiful backgrounds. There's a new section, sort of category coming up that I've noticed that's just called backgrounds, and they're just sort of individual kind of backgrounds that have sort of no relation to any particular category. And I think this is a really pretty addition to that. I think there's not very many in that category yet, but I think this is definitely a lovely addition. And the butterflies, again, they go with that butterfly configurations border, and it's really nice to have the square. And again, we've got no cut edge on this outside edge here, so you can decide where you want it, but the others do have cut edges like around the butterfly, etc. So we've got, again, lots of options there. So I think that is so pretty. Okay, so now there was the sort of latest shadow box collection, and the last time I think we had like a wedding one, and before that we had sort of a birthday theme, and this time was a baby theme. Now for some reason only known to myself, I actually missed out the shadow box part. I'm not too worried in that actually, because I've still got the shadow boxes from the previous collections, so I don't see why these wouldn't fit into that okay anyway, so I'm not too worried. But these are the sort of separate elements that would go with that shadow box or in their own right. So starting first of all with some of the elements that you could pop into the shadow box, as I said, or just on its own. And you can see now why that lovely stitch doodle flower is going to work really well, because you've got all the sort of stitched edges on these, which is just so cute. So there's 5 dies on here, and they're literally just complete as they are in their own self. So there's no edges and separate inner pieces. They are what they are. And you can see here that sort of like on the giraffe here, you've got sort of the embossing pieces here. So there's extra elements, the elephant's ear, etc. So if you pop that through to emboss it as well, you'll get that extra sort of detail coming through. So that's really cute. And then we've got, oh sorry, and that was called Stuffed Animals. And then we've got Stork and Baby, again with the stitched edges to it. So this was the pieces that Sue was alluding to as well. She said there was a number of different elements coming with this stitched edging, and I'm really chuffed about that because I think they're so nice. So you've got your little stork, and then we've got It's a Boy and It's a Girl, of course. So those are those, and they're one single die, again with your stitched pieces on that. And I think that works really well for this. It kind of sort of with the stuffed animal thing, and as I say, you've then got this flower which I think works really well with it. It all kind of fits in, which is obviously the idea. And then we've got Little Treasures, which are the little elements that would sit really nicely into the little sections of the shadow box die. The shadow box die that came with this had other elements inside of it as well, but as I say, I don't quite know why I missed it out, but I did for some reason. I think I thought I'd done it and placed it in my order, but I obviously hadn't. And then finally on the dies, I've got the New Arrival Baby Onesie. This was the New Arrival collection, by the way. And you've got the little baby grow, or the onesie, and then you've got the bib and the buttons and the little sentiment. And so just turning it over. So that's really, really cute. So that's all the dies. Now to go with this, there were a number of the stamps to die for. I literally only got 3. I don't always get them at all, to be honest. I do like them, but I'm more keen to get the dies. So I rather sort of direct my funds towards that. But I really liked this. This goes with the Maldives one. I was trying to think which one. And I just thought it was really nice with the wood look. So the Maldives is that one here. So you can just see. Turn that over. How that will fit in there. And it even has that inner piece there, look, so it will fit absolutely perfectly. So that's, well, obviously that's the point, isn't it? And then I got the 2 baby grows, lovely cute little images named Prince George and Princess Charlotte. How appropriate. I thought that was very cute, and actually very much the outfit. It's definitely this one that we saw him wearing when he was little. So you've got the baby grow, and that obviously goes with our baby grow die, or sorry, onesie. Using English rather than. Okay, so that's the 2 stamps. So, okay, so that is this quarter's launch from Sue Wilson. I think it's absolutely stunning, as always. Really excited, and I just couldn't wait to share it with you, and I hope you've enjoyed taking a look at it. So I will see you again soon, and thank you so much for watching. Bye for now. Bye.